individuals that haven't taken certain medical treatment away from everybody else, and you can't go in there and see them. So I don't know what you call that, but I'd assume that's similar to that. Quick question about term limits. I always thought differently of this. I was always a proponent of term limits, but I had, well, our Logan County chapter coordinator was also a county commissioner, former Marine, pretty cool person. I got the time to spend some time with him at a Wanamaker's gun show talking about things, and this is one thing, along with a couple others, that really got my head in a spin. I was always for term limits, because I thought, well, serve your time, limit when they can be in office, look at DC and the problems we have. But the way he phrased it, he's kind of a Rothbardian, libertarian, Republican, if you will, a good person, and he had a good thought process. He said, term limits are, James, you're just too stupid to know who to vote for. So you need the government to limit someone how they can run. And when he said it like that, I went, man, you're not joking. So it kind of changed my opinion to an extent. Like I can agree that in certain offices, but it made me think differently about term limits because, maybe a certain state senator would get to stay around for the next 30 years while my kids get to vote. Maybe they move to different municipalities, things like that. But apparently I'm just too stupid to know better than myself. So there is a bill in the legislature, I think it was Senator Rogers, to prohibit unmarked law enforcement vehicles from conducting traffic operations, which is a huge thing going on, by the way, in the city of Tulsa right now. I was just driving my wife around to doctor appointments today. It was like 4 or 5 unmarked cars. They're pulling like side roads, blocking streets right by St. Francis. So
yeah, I saw 4 of them myself.
It kind of goes in stop to the red light issues and other problems that we have. So all that being said, Dr. Sherwood, if you would please. He is running as a Republican for the position of our state governor. So come on up, sir.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. I appreciate it. And I want to give a shout out to Christy, right? Excellent. Appreciate what you've done in Broken Arrow. We live there, so thank you so much. Senator Don, thank you for stepping up. I appreciate the job you've done in the state Senate, and I know that if God willing, you'll do the same job out there in the U.S. Senate, so I appreciate you very much. As I stand before you today, as I do literally every time I talk, I'm going to say, first of all, that I honor my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I will never deny him, period, whatever stage I stand on. Secondly, I'm going to honor my queen, my best friend, my pal, my co-CEO, my wife, Dr. Michelle, right over there. So, when we decide to step up and run for governor, it's us that made that decision. It's not me, it's us. I want people to understand it. So she's right with me the whole way. A lot of times people say, well, why do you stand in front of people and why are you running for governor? Well, I want to give you a little bit of history on us. My wife and I, we've been fighters all of our lives. For the last 10 years, we have absolutely fought against this thing called medical tyranny. Does anyone know anything about that these days? Mm-hmm. We have stood up against it. 10 years ago, we had a dream, this idea that we could start a clinic. I'm a naturopathic doctor and my wife is an osteopathic doctor. We thought we can start a clinic with the belief that actually if you give the body what it needs, it can heal itself. Pretty cool idea. We actually believe that God made the human body. We actually believe that God constructed the immune system. And we believe that if you gave it the right thing, well, it would do the right thing and it would protect you. We saw Big Pharma controlling everything. Over and over again. It was controlling actions, it was controlling protocols, treatments, and decisions. And it was all driven by dollars. All of us as people became perpetual customers. We weren't part of people anymore. We were part of the payer mix. You were worth this much. I was worth this much. It was all about the dollars. We decided to step up and do something about that. Well, all of our friends said, you're idiots. You're stupid. That won't work. You can't do that because you have to depend on those insurance dollars. Where am I going with this? We stood up and we started in the corner office with nobody. Not a soul. Nobody around. But we had people that were hungry and wanted to get well. And despite all the odds, despite all the naysayers, despite all the people that said you can't do that, we decided to step up anyway and do it because it was right. Folks, understand stepping up and doing what's right is going to go against the culture. It's going to go against process. It's going to go against protocols. It's going to go against the what we've always done mentality. We stood up and we were doing the right thing, and people came from all around the country and all around the world, and they got well. We gave all praise to God himself for helping us out. It all came to a head in March 2020 when this thing called COVID struck us from everywhere at every angle. Unfortunately, at that time, we looked at each other and we said, what are we going to do? And I was looking for any person in government. I was looking for people in pulpits. I was looking for people in medicine to step up and say, hey, we're not going to live in fear. We're going to live in faith and hope. We don't know what we're dealing with, but we're not going to live scared. We're not going to be scared people. We're going to be courageous Americans like we've always been. We're going to do that. Folks, I heard crickets. And my heart was broke. Well, what have we done? We looked at each other that day and we said, we're not going to wear masks because Jesus didn't wear a mask. I asked him and he laughed at me. We're not going to close our doors because nobody here is not essential.
That's right.
I thought, how can we get to this point where somebody is looking at the people and saying, your business is essential? Oh, you're not. You are. You're not. You sell liquor? You're essential. You sell marijuana? You're essential. You're trying to run a grocery store, mom and pop, in Mulder, Oklahoma. You're not essential.
That's right.
Come on, this got silly. We stepped up. 1,000 people later, nobody died. I was thinking, we're rolling pretty good now. 2,000 people later, nobody died. And I got this wild idea at that time. I thought, I'm going to call the news. Be a good story. Because some of the news anchors, whose names shall remain silent, of course, come to us for care. We called them personally and said, we run a story. What was the answer?
No.
It's on our radar.